Hello, everyone. Hurry. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, people. And it's time for, you know what time it is. On a fine Sunday morning, a great Sunday morning on the East Coast. I am JT, a.k.a. The Master. And as always, Jerry Taylor presents the Master Plan. I'm not going to give you the number. I started to do that, but we're not on Blog Talk Radio anymore. Anyway, we're talking about week 6. This is a crucial week, people. A crucial week. We're talking about bye week start this week in fantasy football. And that means you're going to lose some players. You're going to lose people. And it's up to you to make the changes in order to be effective in your teams. You're going to lose players on the Detroit Lions, on the Las Vegas Raiders. And you got to make up that. This is crucial weeks. This is crucial weeks because the fact is, like I said, it's bye weeks. It starts from now and end on week 14. And as fantasy managers, the first 5 weeks, you've made changes. You've added made trades. You've added people from the waiver wire, and you put your team in position for the bye weeks. Hopefully. Now, as we go through this week, I'm going to be giving you several players that have to do with matchups, and maybe those players will play a crucial role. Maybe those players will play a crucial role. I can't guarantee you that, but it would behoove you to pick them up. Just in case. You know, players are getting consistently banged up. Wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, running backs, consistently getting banged up and miss weeks or miss the season. And if you have that valuable backup, you've delved into a team's roster and plucked that person out and put them on your bench, just in case. You never know. You may have gotten somebody to be a league winner. You don't know. You can't predict the future. You can only help yourself by adding these players and see what happens. Now, just as quickly as you added them, you can get rid of them if they don't pan out. So not everyone's going to pan out. It's all speculation. It's all a gut feeling, basically, and you're doing your research to put players on your bench. I'm not a genius. I'm not perfect. I just give you information. I'm going to give you some pretty good, I think, in my opinion, some pretty good information to grab several players and put them on your roster. They're in different situations, and I'll try to explain that when we get to them. That my thinking on why to add these players. But when we go through the games, I will talk about that. Oh, who do I have sitting here waiting? And he's upright. And he's upright. And he's in a business position. I really appreciate that. Let me bring in Mr. FSP. What's up, my man?
Don't start with me this morning. You snake in the grass, you.
I'm not a snake. Why am I a snake? Tell me why I'm a snake.
You know why you a snake.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Oh, well, let me enlighten the people.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay. Jerry Taylor I gave him good information yesterday. He had no idea what was going on. This morning, I know he didn't know what I knew, but I posted it in a group forum that we have. As soon as I did it, I saw his name pop up, and he went and snatched a handcuff off of the waiver wire for Daryl Henderson. Because if you didn't know, folks, Cam Akers is having issues with McVay, and he's not playing today. And it's said to be because he doesn't like his usage. So the Rams are beginning to shop him or whatever. So therefore, Jerry, after seeing that, being the snake that he is, he went straight to the waiver wire while me and a couple of people were talking about backups. And because Jerry made a vow not to talk in the chat for the rest of the year because he got his ass with nice called Brent's bitches. But that's a different thing.
But I made
he's like a little stalker. He's looking at everybody do everything.
Yes. and I made my voice heard when I did that.
You are a stalker. Well,
hey, people, when I tell you this, people, wait a minute, it's my show. Let me finish. People, when I tell you this, you got to do your research. And if you listen to a chat, that's part of research. So, hey, you let the people on the chat talk, and you do. Don't pay attention to what they're doing. You do it.
Listen, I will agree with that, but because Jerry is a snake, he's not going to need him. He does need running back help, but he's not going to get the type of help he's looking for with this backup because I don't think Williams is going to affect Henderson's touches. He's gonna touch the ball, I believe so, but I don't think he's going to have that type of.
Let's do this. Okay, we're gonna go through each matchup, and I'm gonna point out some players that I think people should pick up. And you just
if he didn't snake them already.
Oh, wait a minute. Just listen to me, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, let's get to the first one. I'm excited about this week. It's week 6, man. It's week 6 of the bye weeks, and people are scrambling to get players to make up for the Detroit Lions, the Las Vegas Raiders, and such. So it's going to be interesting from now until week 14 when the bye weeks end at week 14. That's a long way to go. Long way to go. And a lot of things can happen, and a lot of guys' position are going to change, whether it's for the negative or for the positive. Hopefully, it's for my listeners, the positive. And let me see what I got here. I got somebody in the private chat.
That was me.
Oh. Anyway.
That's how he's not paying attention, y'all. I said that like 3-4 minutes ago.
Okay.
No, 5 minutes ago.
Okay, no problem. Anyway, let's go to the first matchup, which is the San Francisco 49ers at the Atlanta Falcons. Do I play Jimmy G in here? And then you know what? We'll do it this way. We did it like this last week, and we'll do it again this week. I'll take the home team. Mr. FSP will take the visiting team. Okay? So let's go to, like I said, the San Francisco 49ers, Atlanta Falcons. Since the Atlanta Falcons are the home team, I'll take the Marcus Mariota. This is one of the toughest defenses in the league, people. One of the toughest defenses in the league. I don't care if the Atlanta Falcons are playing home. This is going to be tough. Defenses travel, and San Francisco has a very good defense. I do not play Marcus Mariota, not even in a 2-quarterback league. I think they're going to stifle him because of the speed of the defense. And you know what? This is going to be easy. You know why it's going to be easy? Because I'm saying do not play any Falcons because I don't think they're going to be fantasy relevant in this matchup. Mr. FSP, you got the San Francisco 49ers.
I got to agree with JC on what he just said because Kyle Pitts is supposed to play, but that 49er defense, even though the front four, the entire front four of San Francisco, I think Bosa is the only one that's playing, and he's got a little injury. The front four of San Francisco is in the dumps. They're not playing today. So that could be a good run game for them, but it's going to hurt that 49er defense. So I would temper my expectations on the point value you're going to get from San Francisco's defense today. They've been putting pretty good numbers up. Jimmy G and Kittle, that should be a connection all day. I believe Debo's going to have a good game. Maybe even Brandon Ayuk. But the person that everybody needs to play in this matchup is their running back. That's the key.
Who is it?
Wilson. Right now it's Wilson. Right
Jeff
now it's Wilson.
Jr.
Yes. So Wilson is consistent. He's been very consistent. He hasn't been high, hasn't been low. He's been very consistent. And today I think he's in for a boom type of game.
Okay. I'm just trying to decide whether I want to do this or not. No, I'm not going to do it. Okay. Let's move on to the next matchup. We're going to go right through this quite naturally. These are less teams than last week because teams are on a bye. Okay. Let's go to the New England Patriots at my Cleveland Browns. I'll take the home team. Mr. FSP will take the New England Patriots. Don't play Jacoby Brissett. He's not fantasy relevant in here. If the running team, I keep it 100. I'm not a bias to one team or another. I do have allegiance to this team, but I'm going to keep the fantasy relevance of these players 100 without any bias. Play Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is running back one. I think he leads the league in running, in rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken. Number one rushing, which I have his jersey sitting on my wall, courtesy of Pristine Auction. Anyway,
okay, you're not gonna drop us. Okay.
Anyway, this player is a flex. He's a flex. Mr. FSP doesn't like him, which is fine. I understand that some people don't like certain players, don't like him. He hasn't been performing, and I'll admit it. He hasn't been performing like he did last year, but he's still a viable flex option. Besides what Mr. FSP believes, I'm talking about Kareem Hunt. That's who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
And this is a strong play, people. You should have him on your roster, but if you don't, I don't think he's going to be on anybody's waiver wire. I highly doubt it. David Njoku, Jacoby Brissett loves throwing check down if he can. He loves throwing check down. And the number one wide receiver, I would play in here. I'm not expecting monster numbers like he did week 2 and 3, but I'm still expecting some at least double digits. Is Amari Cooper. Mr. FSP, I don't have anybody else on this team, and it's on you for New England.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not knocking Jerry, but he's not the only one that does this, and I don't understand it. Because I've done it one time, and then I said, Victor, that doesn't make any sense. How can you not like a quarterback but want to play their pass receivers? I don't get that. But in this case, that's what it is. In Bailey Zappi, I like him. I really do. And I also like Jacoby Myers. If it were Mac Jones, I wouldn't even mention any of the pass receivers because Mac Jones he's a very good quarterback. He needs to learn a little bit more, and I believe he's coming back as the backup this week. So prepare to put Bailey Zappi on the bench or drop him for next week, even though this offense hums a little better with Bailey Zappi and Jacoby Myers, who is playing today. Cleveland secondary is somewhat sketchy right now. I don't know what's going on, but Myers is that PPR machine. He is. I'd play him not over some players, but the vast majority of fantasy, I would play him over. Don't expect much, especially on the road in Cleveland. Don't even test the tight ends. Bill Belichick and company paid a lot of money to 2 tight ends that aren't going to give you anything. But Ramon Stevenson, I don't know if he is the running back, but he happens to be a running back that's doing pretty well for New England Patriots. Outside of that, I would say in the middle of the pack is that defense. If you need to play them, play them. But if you have a better option that has an easier matchup, I would go there because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are definitely hard runners, and that can cause you some points in fantasy.
Okay, I got one little tidbit that I want to throw in here that a lot of people probably don't realize. Okay, Damian Harris is out. Ramondre Stevenson is the number 1 running back.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of the teams that runs more than 1 running back. So this is what I suggest you do. I did it and I dropped the team because I wanted to pick up somebody else that I did in one of the leagues. Pierre Strong, the rookie backup. Just think about that. Pierre Strong. If you got a room, I know I've said a few things, but if you have a room on your waiver wire to pick up a running back, because you never know, they're going to use Ramondre Stevenson. And like I said, this is basically they use the main running back, but they also use the second running back quite a bit also, and incorporate him in the offense. And he's a rookie running back. He hasn't had that much run, if anything at all. You don't know what you're going to get. He may be the next Jonathan Taylor. You don't know what you're going to get. So in a few leagues, I picked up the backup knowing that Damian Harris is hurt and that Ramondre Stevenson is going to take the lead, but anything can happen. The running back can get hurt, and hello, Pierre Strong. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay. I know you can shake your head, but Deion Jackson is an example of what I'm talking about. Remember that. Deion Jackson is an example of what I'm talking about.
But are we on Indy? I'm just saying.
That's an example. Stop it.
I know.
We're going to New York Jets at the Green Bay Packers. I take the Packers. Mr. FSP is going to take the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is dealing with a thumb issue. I'm not exactly sure of what the type of thumb issue it is, but it may limit the way he throws the football. I can't guarantee that. But he's been practicing it all week, and I expect Aaron Rodgers to be Aaron Rodgers. You play Aaron Jones because they want to run the football. A.J. Dillon has not been doing as much as he first started with in the beginning of the year. But you can't put him. You got to put him in the flex if you do anything. Okay? And I would play Romeo Dubes and Alan Lazard. Those are the 2 consistent wide receivers other than Randall Cobb. And he's inconsistent. You never know if he's going to make a solid showing, or he's going to be ghosted. You never know about that. So those are the 2 to 3 players that I'm talking about in his offense. Aaron Rodgers, 4 players, 5 players, whatever it is. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Alan Lazard, Romeo Dukes. Talk to me, Mr. FSP, about the New York Jets.
Well, Jerry's favorite team, the Jets, they're 3-2. Surprisingly 3-2. And I'm not going to say the Jerry Jinx is over. It's been quite a while, but it looks like they know what they're doing, except for one thing. Zach Wilson's not throwing to Garrett Wilson. By the way, Garrett Wilson's the person Jerry dropped for the backup. I wouldn't have did that. That's just me. But I understand his reasoning. Because under Flacco, Garrett was feasting. Under Zach, Garrett's not getting the ball as much. He's going more to Corey Davis. And I'm going to put a tidbit out there. Coleman, Tevin Coleman's been activated. Breece Hall, Carter. That's how they're going to run the rock. They're just going to run. I don't know which back is nicked up, but if you're activating Tevin Coleman, You're not activating for no reason. But I also believe that this might be an upset in the making where the Jets beat the Packers. The last couple weeks, Packers have struggled. They won one and they lost. They let a one running back team in the Giants come back and beat them. Jets got more than one running back. Jets got some good defense too. If you like that sauce, it's called Gardner. It's a good name. Good name. That defense, yes, well invested, and they're showing out. I'm not playing the Jets defense though, but I am playing that running backfield of the Jets. It's it.
All right, let's move on to the next game, and this is my, I would say this is going to be a pretty good game in my opinion. Even though it's in the AFC South, even though it's AFC South rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. I'll take the Colts. Mr. FSP is going to take the Jaguars. And I'm not playing Matt Ryan. No. The Jaguars' pass defense is pretty decent. They have a better pass defense than they do have a run defense. That's why I'm really in love with Deion Jackson, the person I told about last week. I picked up last week and told you about when we were on the air yesterday, and hopefully you picked him up. Hopefully you'll put him in a lineup. At worst, he's a flex. He can be a running back too, in my opinion. At worst, because Jacksonville is one of the worst teams. I think that they give up the ninth most fantasy points, if I'm not mistaken, in fantasy to the running backs. So I'm loving Deion Jackson. Barring injury, I love him, Deion Jackson. He's more of a Jonathan Taylor mold. Not saying he's Jonathan Taylor, but he's more in the mold of a Jonathan Taylor than Philip Lindsay. And quite naturally, Naheem Hines is out in concussion protocol, and Jonathan Taylor is out. Might play Michael Pittman. I think Matt Ryan, as long as he has a decent running game, will be able to get the ball to Michael Pittman. I know Alec Pierce has been showing out. I know that. But their main gun, their main wide receiver is Michael Pittman. So play Michael Pittman. Mr. FSP, you have the Duval County football team.
Duval, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. And I mentioned this a while ago. Sonny, I call him Sonny when it doesn't do too well. Sonny Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, has not been. Sunshine. Thank you. Sunshine hasn't been doing too well over the past couple weeks, and neither of Jacksonville. But that defense is still on point. Play that defense. Lately, there's been a 50-50 split between Travis Etienne and Robinson. I know Jerry doesn't like Robinson, and he talks about the ACL crap, but the boy's still doing his thing. Achilles, whatever it is.
It's a big difference.
He's still performing. Now, is he performing the way he was the first couple games of the season? No, because the team isn't performing that way. And the team is performing that way because of Trevor Lawrence. Now, the defense, it's designed to peel their ears back and go. But to do that, they have to have a lead. Trevor hasn't been putting the ball where it's supposed to be. So, therefore, Kirk isn't being productive. Evan Ingram isn't being productive like they were in the beginning of the season. It all depends on Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying play Trevor Lawrence in this game. That shutout they had in Jacksonville, don't be surprised if Indianapolis returns the favor. I would say play Travis Etienne because he's getting more and more touches, and he's the receiving back. He gets 3 or 4 touches out of the passing game a game. And last week he had 6 receptions and I think 8 or 9 rushes. So that's 15 touches. 15 touches a game. That's significant, especially in a PPR. This will be the game where he would have to feast in order for me to say, okay, well, hey, stick with him. But I don't think he's going to feast. I think Jacksonville's in trouble. Don't play Trevor Lawrence in this game, thinking the same thing's going to happen. You got to play Christian Kirk because by this point, he's probably in your flex or your number 2 receiver. So you got to play him. He's going to get targets. I don't know how many he's going to catch, though. That's what I got.
Okay. I wanted to add a sleeper in here because he has been getting looks, and I'm looking for him to possibly make a visit to the end zone this week. Talking about tight end Jacksonville Jaguars, Evan Ingram. Okay, let's move on to the
Okay, go ahead.
let's go on to the Minnesota Vikings at the Miami Dolphins, and Skylar Thompson, the third running back. Jesus, the third quarterback for the Miami Dolphins is going to be playing because of concussion protocol. Now, supposedly Teddy Bridgewater is not in concussion protocol, but he's going to be the backup. I guess that's probably as a precaution to make sure that he has at least one more week to get healthier. And Tua Tagovailoa, if I'm not mistaken, is out of the concussion protocol, but they want to also err on the side of caution and give him another week before they put him back into the fray in week 7. You have to stay tuned. Anything can happen, and you got to pay attention to reports coming out of Miami on what their quarterback situation is going to be for week 7. Week 6 is Skylar Thompson, and I'm not playing him, not against the Minnesota Vikings, and even though they're playing home, I'm talking about Miami. You play Raheem Mostert because it looks like Chase Edmonds has gotten phased out at the main back, and Mike McDaniel, coming over from San Francisco, is very familiar with Raheem Morris, or Raheem Mustard, some people call him. So you play Raheem Mostert. Tyreek Hill, that's a no-brainer. He's dealing with some quad issues, if I'm not mistaken. But he's going to be a go, along with Jaden Waddle. I'm more Tyreek and then Jaden Waddle, even though, and because it's Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson is probably going to target Tyreek Hill more than Jaden Waddle, in my opinion. And despite popular belief, Mike Gesicki is not really an integral part of this offense. And I have a hard time trying to wrap my head around starting on Mike Gesicki. Anyway,
Here we go.
no, what? I'm just saying. I'm just going down the roster.
Go ahead. I didn't say anything. I just said, here we go. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
Okay. Mr. FSP, you have one of your favorite quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins.
Here we can see. Okay. I want you to remember how you opened up this can that you're about to partake in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Go right ahead.
For the past 2 years, somebody has been hyping this bust from Alabama, Irv Smith. Get him. Irv Smith had an opportunity. 2 opportunities to make big plays, big gains. Because he was featured in 2 games. Bust. Even he's getting the targets, but he just can't catch. Not my fault. But I know Gesicki, when he gets the targets, he catches. I'm just going to put that out there. But that's enough of that. I'm not going to go there anymore, at least until he says something.
I'm going to say something.
Kirk Cousins. Jerry likes to push my buttons, knowing that Kirk Cousins is not my quarterback.
Are you playing him this week? Are you playing him this week
over Russell Wilson?
Okay,
so let's qualify.
I'm just saying.
Let's qualify that. It ain't like I don't have another option. I just think that I have a better shot with him. And you let me finish my statement.
Go ahead. I'm just laughing.
Let me finish my statement. So, Kirk Cousins is not my favorite quarterback. He is definitely not my favorite quarterback, especially on the road. He has a worse road record this year, anyway, that kind of scares me a bit. But he and Justin Jefferson are like a really good tag team. one gets a lot of praise while the other, does the dirty work. And right now, the one that's getting the praise is Kirk Cousins. But there's their manager on the outside, Dalvin Cook. This partially dislocated shoulder, and it seems like that motivates this guy to be better, just to prove a point. And he's been doing it. But the odd man out is the best friend in the back that's not getting any ring time, which is Adam Thielen. Because they're wasting their time trying to get this new kid on the block, some pub in the ring, in Irv Smith. And it just so happens to be Thielen, who's dealing, I believe, with an injury. I think he's dealing with some type of lower leg injury, isn't getting touched. But a guy to look out for, Kelly Osborne. Watch out for Kelly Osborne.
KJ Osborne.
Oh, KJ. I'm sorry. I thought the K stood for Kelly. KJ Osborne. But you can give up on Irv Smith. I mean, somebody hasn't.
Okay. So I started this show like this, and I'm going to put this in here before I go any further. Like I said, I put players out there. I'm not perfect. And the fact is that some players are going to hit, some aren't. I've said that ad nauseum. So when a player hits, certain people don't say anything, but when a player does not hit, I do hear it. So I'm just saying. So when it does hit, Chris McCaffrey, but I'm just saying.
Who?
The
say
number,
that name louder.
The number. Wait a minute. The number. I think he's in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken, in fantasy for running backs. CMC.
What are you talking about, Carolina?
Okay. But okay.
I thought we were talking about Minnesota.
We'll go to the next game. We'll go to the next game.
Oh, now we're going to talk about Carolina.
Cincinnati, because it's my show. I can direct it that way. Cincinnati Bengals at the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, we didn't talk about it, man. Okay.
And I'll take the home team, which is the New Orleans Saints, and Mr. FSP will take the road team. Now, one of the things about the road team before I go to the home team, that I told you people before that this team was going to regress, and they have. They've been struggling to win games. But we'll go to the Saints first. I'm not playing Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is not even a streamable type of quarterback to play in here. I'm playing Alvin Kamara quite naturally. I'm playing this is tough because I'm not a big fan of this player, but I gotta believe.
Oh yeah.
I gotta believe. I'm not a big fan of this player because I think he's a gadget player, but he's incorporated in it as long as Andy Dalton is the quarterback. He's more incorporated in this offense than if Jameis Winston was in it, and that's Taysom Hill. So if you have a flex position, which most fantasy football rosters have, and you're searching for a flex player because of your bye weeks have taken away the players that you would normally put into your flex, Taysom Hill. There's no guarantee of Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry may not even be playing. Michael Thomas is not playing. I'm not sure about Chris Olave if he's in or out, not yet. So you have to check that. But Taysom Hill, regardless of the fact, is the type of player that can give you fantasy flex points in on your roster. Mr. FSP, you got the Cincinnati Bengals.
I said it on my show yesterday, which is the best show, Fantasy Sports and Politics, every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Big Easy boys go back to the Big Easy. Joe Burrow, he's got to come out of his slump. In other words, they got to stop sacking him. I think they're going to stop sacking him in this game. Joe Mixon needs to find it. He's not a Big Easy boy, but I think he has a chance here. But the guy that's going to show up and show out is Jamar Chase, because Tyler Boyd's on the other side. T. Higgins is doubtful to play. I don't think they've ruled him out yet, but T. Higgins is not looking to play. There's a kid, number 80, Mr. Thomas, who is taking his place, and he's had some ups and downs. I'm not going to play him, but the favorite target so far has been Hayden Hurst. I like that, but New Orleans just really don't have anything, as Jerry just said, on the outside. So I expect that to be a running game. I think Cincinnati they have to get up big and early on this team by throwing the ball and making Andy Dalton beat them through the air. He's going to have to. But that's what I'm playing. Evan McPherson, I got to play that kid. He's got a leg. So that's what I got for you. I wasn't even going to crack on nothing else.
We have to talk. We have to talk after the show about our lineup. I'm having some thoughts here.
No, this is a good opportunity.
No.
Your thought process.
Mr. FSP, stop assuming. Just you don't know what I'm thinking. And
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It would be good to
right.
share. It'll be good to share with everybody so we get the mind of the master. That's what I would do.
Well, let me put it this way: if T. Higgins is not playing, Tyler Boyd is going to have a bigger role.
I know. I just said that.
Yeah. Well, that's.
But
I don't want to. Didn't want to talk about our team.
Okay.
On air.
It's fine, but we should. So who?
No, we shouldn't. It's my show. No, we shouldn't. We're going to talk off air. We're going to talk air. Okay. We're going to talk. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm just letting you know my thoughts.
I know where you're going, and
okay.
I Taysom or Boyd. That's where you're going.
Okay. Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. This is a very, very, very interesting game. Very interesting game. I said yesterday that the Brian Dable is he's playing to my name. Magic Man. He's smoking mirrors. That's what he's doing. I don't know how the heck the Giants are 4-1?
4-1.
4-1. The New York Football Giants that were absolutely horrible last year. I don't know how they're doing it. They beat the Green Bay Packers last, and that was in disbelief of the fans, and especially disbelief of Aaron Rodgers. He couldn't believe he got beat by the Giants. The Giants of all people, with Daniel Jones, with no passing options. So let's talk about the New York Football Giants and Daniel Jones. I'm not playing Daniel Jones. That's not happening. Maybe in a two quarterback league. Maybe. But who's he thrown to? Darius Slayton? Richie James? Wan'Dale Robinson? Okay. Are they who of the three are viable options? Maybe Wan'Dale Robinson? Maybe Darius Slayton. Okay. How much of an option are they going to be in fantasy? I don't think they're going to be. They'll be serviceable enough to have a change of pace, but hand the football off to Saquon Barkley. Let me put it that way. There'll be just that change of pace, throwing the football to one of those wide receivers, but not being fantasy relevant. You get 8-9 points at one of these or three of these wide receivers. You're not going to get any substantial points, in my opinion. So my thought is this: one of the better kickers, believe it or not, one of the better kickers and reliable kickers in fantasy is Graham Gano. If the Giants don't score touchdowns, they'll be in position to kick some field goals. And I don't normally talk about kickers, but this is one that I talk about because I think he's going to be one of the viable options in fantasy in the kicking position. So I got two options, and they're diametrically different than each other. We're talking about Saquon Barkley, running back, and the kicker. That's it. That's all I have. Mr. FSP, you got the Ravens.
So here's the problem. the best receiver on the Ravens right now, wide receiver, is Devin Duvernay, who happens to be also their kick returner. But you still got Lamar. And Lamar can do a lot of things on his own, as you saw last week. But Lamar didn't have the big game like he has been where they're losing. It was a more efficient called game. And it came down to the kicker, Justin Tucker. But that game last week is indicative of what you're going to see today. I think the Giants have, and I said this earlier on in the preseason, the Giants and the Jets vastly improved their defenses with their picks. Now, I wasn't high on Thibodeau. I was not high on Thibodeau because he's a turn-on, turn-off type guy. And with that, it seems like he's been turning it on as of late, getting double teams as opposed to just being blocked one-on-one. But I don't think there's anybody on the Giants defense is going to stop Lamar. I don't think so. And you bring back J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards is creeping and knocking on that door too. It's going to be interesting. I think the Giants are going to go to 4-2. And the only real players I can tell you to play are the three. Mark Andrews, of course, J.K. Dobbins, and Lamar. Devin Duvernay isn't a number one, but he's in a number one role. We'll see what happens. And Hollywood Brown was right. No big-time receiver wants to go to Baltimore. You're looking at why. So, or at least the rumor was that Hollywood said that. He later denied it, but I think that's similar to what he said. I got to step away for a few minutes, JT. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett's taken over for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the quarterback position, and I can't tell you to play Kenny Pickett. Not against this Tampa Bay stifling defense. No way. This top old defense is going to eat up a rookie quarterback, even though they're playing in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is reeling right now, and we keep saying this over and over again. And it looks like Mike Tomlin is going to have a losing season. Right now, Pittsburgh is 1-4, and they're going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty that they're going to go up against. You have to think that Pittsburgh goes up against Tampa Bay here, and then next week they go up against Miami, and then after that they go up against Philadelphia. And Miami and Philadelphia are on the road with a rookie quarterback. It's not looking pretty before Pittsburgh goes on a Week 9 bye. So let's just talk about Pittsburgh and their starting lineup. You got Kenny Pickett, don't play. They got a bad offensive line, and I know most people drafted Najee Harris within the first round or high second round, but Najee Harris behind that offensive line is not the Najee Harris of last year. You know why? Because Najee Harris caught a boatload of passes, I think 90 passes last year. That made him fantasy relevant. 3.5, 3.6 yards per carry was what he was last year. And it's not much better this year, if not worse. But I can tell you to play this. Pat Freiermuth is out. He's still dealing with his concussion protocol. Deontay Johnson and George Pickens will be the favorite target for Kenny Pickett. I can't tell you to play those two. Okay? I can tell you to definitely play those two. On the Tampa Bay side, let's talk about this. Tom Brady absolutely play again. This defense of Pittsburgh is not the same without T.J. Watt as a pass rusher and to disrupt the offense of any offense going up against Pittsburgh. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think he's banged up. He may not be playing this week. Even if he does, I think he's banged up. Minkah Fitzpatrick in the backside of this defense. I think Brady and company are going to have their way with this defense of Pittsburgh. So play Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Chris Evans, and I can't honestly say what tight end, either Cade Otton, who was taking the place of Cameron Brate last week because of concussion protocol, or Cameron Brate. I can't honestly tell you to play either one of those guys. But I can tell you this. I told you last week, I told you a few weeks going, and I'm still telling you. I can't believe that he's on any kind of waiver wire because he has to get over the last few weeks. He's getting bit more and more and more involved in this offense. And I'm talking about Rachaad White, running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? I told you about him before, about picking him up. He's going to be incorporated. And God forbid if Leonard Fournette gets hurt, this kid is going to be the number one running back, and he's going to be a valuable asset. Tom Brady loves checking down to the running back, and this kick can move. He's a better pass catcher and a better receiver with the ball, even though he's a running back than Leonard Fournette. All right, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Rams, and I'll take the home team first, and then I'll go with the road team. Matthew Stafford against the Carolina Panthers. Sooner or later, Matthew Stafford has to come out of his funk. This may be the week. They're playing at home. They're playing an inferior opponent with their third string quarterback not being able to more than likely generate any kind of points. So I'm saying it to pay Matthew Stafford this week. Play Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson, just like Mr. FSP said beginning of the show, Cam Akers is having an issue supposedly with the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay. And that's one of the reasons why he's not playing, not agreeing with his usage. Okay. Cam Akers is one of the running backs I told you about that I wouldn't trust because of him coming back from an Achilles. He hasn't been performing. So let me put it this way. The running back doesn't like the way he's being used coming off an Achilles, but hasn't been performing when he's been used. So the coach is throwing it up in his face, more or less, that, well, this guy, I'm giving him every chance that he can possibly have to perform, and he's not coming through. I can't jeopardize what the team to play him. So Cam Akers, even though he says he wants to play or doesn't agree with his usage, Sean McVay has finally come to realization that he ain't the one he used to be, because after this injury, starting last year when he came back from the Achilles, he only was running 2.5 yards per carry, and he's been doing that this year. He hasn't been effective, even though we've talked about this. Mr. FSP and I talked about this. He's been getting his touches. He's been being force-fed the football earlier in the first 4 or 5 weeks and not performing. So he doesn't like his usage. Well, your usage depends on how well you perform when you are used. And if you're not being productive, what choice does the head coach have but not put you in there and put somebody in there that can do a better job? That's the bottom line. And
Cole said so.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And so Darrell Henderson, I'm telling you to play. Against the Carolina Panthers, hell yeah. Kerryon Williams. Darrell Henderson is not the most healthy backs. He doesn't stay healthy. And it's been, yeah, exactly. He's up and down.
No, I'm calling you a snake.
Well, whatever. Anyway, I'm not a snake. I'm smart. Anyway.
You're smart. What are you talking about? They're highly intelligent.
Well, let me put it this way. When you see a situation, just like I saw in Jonathan Taylor, but this is a speculation. When you see a situation with a running back that consistently can't stay healthy, look past that running back to his backup, because sooner or later an unhealthy back is not going to be playing, and that backup is going to be taking his role. I'm just saying.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay,
Snake.
so I'm saying play Darrell Henderson, pick up Carrion Williams, play Cooper Cup, play Tyler Higbee. Mr. FSP, you have the Carolina Panthers. Good luck with that.
Exactly. Listen, the snake over there. So I'm gonna give y'all some inside baseball. I'm referred to as a snake in our fantasy league because I'm always trying to make a deal. And people are like, don't Rick, one of our managers, Ricky, he says, why y'all trying to breathe life into that sorry team? Blah blah. Because I'm making deals, baby. I'm making deals all the time. And I was fortunate enough by Jerry, who dropped him, to pick up Jamal Williams. And Jamal went off that week. He went off. And DeAndre Swift probably ain't going to have that starting job locked up when he comes back. Henderson, same situation. One of the teams that's on the bottom, he made a move for a defensive player and dropped Henderson. And I just happened to bid for him. I won by like $2. But the person, Ricky, who says, he's doing this Bill Cosby, he also tried to get him, but he's like, well, I don't need him. I was just doing it strategically. I was like, but you put money on him. Strategic would have just been try to bid on him. I mean, don't drop a bid, just try to claim him. That's just me. Henderson is the real deal, guys. He's going to run all over this defense. He's going to run all over this Carolina defense. P.J. Walker is good for an interception. He is good for a turnover and a couple bad plays. So he's also good for throwing the ball to DJ Moore. So expect DJ Moore's numbers to increase. Expect him to increase. CMC, you've heard the rumors if you haven't already. I don't know what you're waving your hand for. But
I got a question. I got a question.
Wait a minute. Hold your question.
Okay.
At the end of the class,
No problem. I got no problem. I just want to let you know I got a question.
Okay. CMC has been openly shopped by Carolina. Once literally the day after Matt Rule was released, CMC rumors flew rampant, and they haven't stopped. So I guess CMC was Ron Rivera's guy, and Rule kept him, but now they're trying to get value out of him. He's probably going to run a little harder. Now, I think this is the wrong defense for him to face to try to prove a point because he's injury prone. And we'll see what happens with him. But Robbie Anderson, I'm not feeling him. But DJ Moore and CMC, yeah, they should do well. Carolina's not going to win this game. Not going to win this game at all. But we'll see. All right, what's your question, Pupil?
I got two questions.
Okay.
My first question is this. Is DJ Moore, since PJ Walker likes throwing to DJ Moore, is DJ Moore going to be fantasy relevant? When I say fantasy relevant, I mean double digits, at least 10 points.
A week or this week?
This week.
All right. That's a good question because I think he will be, because he'll be force-fed the ball. Okay. Even if Jalen Ramsey is on him, and Jalen isn't that dog in man coverage anymore.
No.
So if they go man, DJ Moore got moves and got the body size, the body type to get those double digits. Because if you're in a PPR, that's 5 targets for 50 yards. That's 10 points. He's going to get at least 5 targets. Because PJ loves to force feed him the ball.
Okay.
What's the second question?
Second question is, if CMC gets moved, where do you think he goes? That's another good question.
So the number one place that has been rumored has been Buffalo. Now, here's the thing, man. I would love to see him go to Buffalo because Josh Allen, Diggs, That's all they need is a good back. But CMC doesn't stay healthy. And in that cold weather, it's going to get worse for his hammies or whatever it is that's giving him his problems. But where would I like to see him go? That's a good question. Because
I said it was a good question.
because it won't be in the NFC. That's how good of a player he is. Carolina does not want to see him in the NFC at all, unless the best deal possible comes from the NFC. I can see him going to the Raiders. I really can see him going to the Raiders because they're not happy with Josh Jacobs. But if you pair those two, might have a good dynamic duo, or you let Josh Jacobs go. Also, who's another AFC team?
KC?
No. I think they're going to give Pacheco a real shot. I think Pacheco is going to get a real shot next year. So it's no point in bringing in a smallish running back to replace a smallish running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But the Raiders, Baltimore might even be in the mix because the way they like to run running backs and the wear and tear on J.K. Dobbins coming off that injury, you got 2 stud running backs plus Lamar, making it 3 stud running backs. I don't know what Baltimore has to offer in exchange, but I could see that.
Well, CMC has a cap-friendly salary, so
now he does, but he won't next year after next.
Okay.
But the value is what I'm saying. I don't think Baltimore has the value to give back.
All right, let's move on to the next game, which would be the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks. Man, this is ironic.
Because you love you some Geno.
This is ironic. I get the home team, and Mr. FSB gets the Arizona Cardinals, the visiting team. I'm going to say it like this. Geno! I love me some Geno Smith. Play Geno Smith. Hell yeah. He's been on a tear. Regardless if it's a system, whatever has been clicking. You play Geno Smith. I overthought last week in one of my leagues, did not play him.
Really?
Yeah, and did not play him and wound up losing a match that I should have won. But that's okay.
He shouldn't have won.
Yeah. If I had played Geno Smith, I would have won easily, but that's okay. That happens. I played Jared Goff against the New England Patriots, and Jared Goff had the worst day of his.
Hold on, let me put my hand up like you did.
Worst season. I overthought it because that offense has been the highest scoring offense or second highest scoring offense in the NFL, and they were nowhere to be found last week. So I'm going back to Geno, going back to the well that helped bring me a win the week before, and I decided to overthink it and play Jared Goff. Well, Jared Goff, I think if I haven't, I will. I kicked him to the curb. I know that. I kicked him to the curb right after that game. Anyway, you play Jared Goff. Now, it's wait and see. Everybody's hype on the hype train of this kid. I'm wait and see. Now, he's going against a defense that is vulnerable against the run. I'm talking about Kenneth Walker, the third. Yes. And everybody's hyping him up. It's a wait and see. Okay. It's a wait and see for me. I know people want him to succeed. Fine. I have no knock on the kid, but for me, it's a wait and see. He's 5'9", and
he's taller than you.
5'9", and a little more 200 plus. I'm not playing NFL football, so that makes a difference. Okay.
All right.
I'm not the type of guy that likes running backs that are under, well under 6 feet. He's 5'9". I like a running back 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and 6'4".
So why do you like Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey's 5'10", 5'11". That's a fact. He's 5'10", 5'11". Didn't I just say I like running backs 5'10", 5'11", 200 plus points I think Chris McCaffrey is 215, 220. Hello, that's in my wheelhouse of a running back.
People.
Adorable running back. Even though Chris McCaffrey's been nicked up in soft tissue injuries, that's a different story than having heart injuries. Anyway, so
my question.
So wait a minute. Let me finish. So Kenneth Walker III, I would play in the flex. You may want to move him in running back 1 or running back 2. After this, if he shows that he can handle it against a Arizona favorable matchup against Arizona, you play Tyler Lockett, you play DK Metcalf because they've been balling out just like Geno. And even you can even play Will Disley in here. And not too much of a Noah fan. All right, Mr. FSP, before you get to your Arizona Cardinals, you ask a question.
All right, so you took a chance on Jared Goff over Geno. But did you understand that Bill Belichick knew how to diffuse that golf machine? I mean, I'm just saying because you're the master, right? I thought you would understand.
Like I said earlier in the show, I am not perfect.
Oh,
and like I said a little later in the show, people like to point out when I'm not perfect, but when I do get something right, it's crickets. But that's okay. Yes, it is. But it's crickets. So I accept both because the fact is I know where it's coming from. No problem. No problem, Mr. TSA. Go ahead, Arizona.
Oh, really, Mr. TSA? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see how the
that's typical TSA. No, don't say nothing when it pans out the way you didn't think it was going.
No, that's not it.
But it's negative, then you're ready to pile on. But that's okay.
No. I ain't saying nothing. Yeah. You the master. You the one that made the mistake. But Arizona has made several mistakes.
Kyler Murray.
It's not like Herman Munster over there.
That's right.
The biggest mistake was not investing heavily in that offensive line. That was the biggest mistake. Eno Benjamin is going to start. So if you're looking for a quick start at running back and he's still on your waiver wire, Eno Benjamin, who has always been a part of the plan anyway, is now the starting running back because Connor is not playing. And neither is Darrell Williams. I expect him to do well, but that offensive line needs some help. Kyler Murray has to run around. I got it. But Rondale Moore has returned. That gives him another target to go with Zach Ertz and the magic of Hollywood. I don't believe I'm saying it, but Hollywood is still in the top 5 in receptions.
For those who don't know, Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Still top 5. Mainly because AJ Green's not doing anything, but Rondale Moore he was a gadget guy last year somewhat, but this year he's taking on a newer role after he's coming off the injury. And in 2 weeks, Hopkins comes back. I believe that the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a little bit of fun in this game. The offense is going to find a way to click as long as that offensive line does its job. Get the ball out quick from Kyler, and we'll see what happens. The defense, look, it's showing Chandler Jones is missing. J.J. Watt ain't that dude, but they need a pass rusher from the edge. Isaiah Simmons is that dude. I don't know why they're not putting him there, but whatever the case may be. But those are the players I'm telling you to play. I'm not playing the defense. And this is sacrilegious for me, I've even dropped Buda Baker. And Buda Baker is my top safety in fantasy. I had to drop him because nothing's going on. So and we do individual defensive players, IDP. So that's that tidbit. But yeah, okay. I'm looking for all those players to make some moves.
Okay. It's already been said that, and this is the type of offense that they have. you didn't mention this. That's why I want to mention that the Arizona Cardinals use a running back by committee.
Okay, yeah, that's
They
fair.
use a running back by committee. And so I know this guy is going to get some type of usage. I don't know what type of usage he's going to get. That's Keontae Ingram. That's the backup to Eno Benjamin right now. So just remember that, okay? Remember that I mentioned that Keontae Ingram is the backup to Eno Benjamin. And in this offense, they already said he's going to get use. I don't know how much use he's going to get, but they didn't draft him this year for nothing. All right. He just hasn't had his opportunity. Keontae Ingram. Just
But
remember it.
don't remember it if something doesn't pan through. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't remember, because when you bring it up to Jerry and he says, "Oh, why you only bring up the negative?" I'm like, "Well, you told me to remember it." So
I remember it. I mean, you can bring up the negative, but you also can bring up the positive.
I do. I always bring up the positive.
When I hit a, no, you don't. That's okay. That's okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but you're on point when it's something negative. You're on point. You can't forget that, and you know that.
So childish.
I'm just I'm being 100% real here, Mr. TSA. Let's go on. Buffalo at the Kansas City Chiefs. I get the opportunity to take the Kansas City Chiefs and this is probably going to be one of the most fantasy friendly games this week. I think so. I think it's going to be one of the most family friendly games because I think the ball's going to get spread around all over the place.
And that's going to be part of the problem. But go ahead.
Okay. So you play Patrick Mahomes. I mean, anybody who has Patrick Mahomes that doesn't play him this week,
you're pulling Jerry.
What? Yeah, you're right. You're thinking too hard. You play Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how good Buffalo defense is. Patrick Mahomes has performed obviously multiple times against Buffalo. He played the obvious. He played Travis Kelce, 4 touchdowns last week. I don't think he gets 4 touchdowns this week. I think he at least gets 1. Okay. And get some usage, maybe 5 or 6 targets at least.
Yeah.
How about Juju Smith-Schuster? I'm loving these guys. I'm loving Travis Kelce.
Hold on. Did you say you love Juju Smith-Schuster as well?
Wait a minute. I'm loving these guys. I'm loving Travis Kelce. I'm loving Juju Smith-Schuster in this matchup, because I think the ball is going to get spread around, and I think Juju and even and I know most people aren't thinking this. Sky Moore is going to make it some relevance in this game. I truly believe this is going to be the over/under is 54.5. I think it goes way over that. I think it goes way over that, 54.5. And I'm loving these guys. Harrison Butker is coming back. He hadn't played since week 1, and he's coming back. So they're going to be
headphones.
They're going to be putting points up all over the place in this game, and I got to believe that Harrison Butker is going to have an issue. I mean, not issue, but something to say about that. Mr. FSP, you have the Buffalo Bills.
I do. I mean, you keep messing up your headset. I didn't know if you were going to talk or not. But listen, I originally said that this was going to be a slobber knocker, right? I'm thinking Von Miller is going to have a problem, or is going to cause a problem for Kansas City. I really believe Von Miller is going to be that dude, because they don't blitz. And that was the problem last year, that they didn't get any pressure on old boy with their front 4. They just dropped 8. or drop 7. Von Miller can be that pressure. And if you take a key or a note out of what the Raiders did the first half, Buffalo's going deep, crossing routes, going deep. Stephon Diggs, playing. Gabriel Davis, I don't believe I'm saying this, playing. Dawson Knox, playing. There's a reason why the Raiders lost that game, and it wasn't because of, Kansas City offense. It was the fact that they stopped putting the pedal to the metal. And they kind of pulled up a little bit. I don't think Buffalo's going to do that. Buffalo remembers, just like the North remembers, Buffalo remembers. If you look at what they did to New England after New England beat them at home in the regular season, they mollywopped New England in the postseason. That's the attitude Buffalo's coming in with this game. Josh Allen, McKenzie, I'm not messing with him. Jerry had a high note on him this season. I'm like, nah. But like I said, Davis, Diggs, Allen. So dad. That's what it is. Go ahead. It's funny. What I said.
Excuse me, people. Excuse me.
What? Oh my God! What the Oh my dog.
Oh man. Anyway,
I can't control that, man. The dude is in his world.
Let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll take the Eagles. Mr. FSP take his favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Really? Okay. You keep going there. You keep doing it. It's okay.
Jalen Hurts. You know what? I've been high. I've ridden Jalen Hurts in one of my leagues as the quarterback. 2 of my leagues. I haven't been in 2 quarterback leagues. And I haven't been in 1 quarterback league. I've been riding high on him. This game scares me. This is a litmus test for Jalen Hurts. Is it a real deal, or has he just been Memorex?
Memorex. Tell the people Memorex. We know what that is. Tell the people what Memorex is. Anyway, is he a real deal, or is he just I can't even think about what I want to say, but if Jalen Hurts for real or not, this is going to be a litmus test for him. Again, going up against a very good defense. The Philadelphia Eagles, if you've watched any of their games, have scored the majority of their points in the first 2 quarters. They struggle to score points in quarters 3 and 4, without a doubt. I don't know if it's that the will of the coaching staff to pull back on the offense and try to coast to a win. I don't know, but it's not a good look. It's not. Oh God, it's not a good look. Hey, look, dude, that's the way you sounded in Vegas.
Yeah,
you want to hear
it. yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I'm saying play Jalen Hurts because he's too good not to play. Miles Sanders has been balling out. I'm really on the fringe of whether to tell you to play him or not. I would play him probably in a flex, not in the RB1 quite naturally, or RB2. I would play him in a flex. AJ Brown really has not been the dude the last few weeks. He started off in a house of fire, but look at his numbers. Some people are taking that AJ Brown and just going by the name and not the numbers. And Devonta Smith. You play these 2 wide receivers. Jalen Hurts' favorite targets are AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. You got to play Dallas Goedert because that's the best friend of this quarterback, and that's of this Philadelphia system since Doug Peterson was part of it before he got fired and went to Jacksonville. Loved throwing to the tight ends when they had Zach Ertz, and then moving on from Zach Ertz, they had Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. Now Zach Ertz is in Arizona, but they still have Dallas Goedert, and they still love throwing to the tight end.
I gotta go ahead.
Wait a minute, and play the kicker. If they don't score touchdowns, they're definitely going to be in position to kick some field goals. And this is probably one of the better field goal kickers in the NFL.
Elliott?
In Jake Elliott.
Okay.
Oh my God. Anyway, you and your Bulldog have the Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead.
Okay, this is what I was gonna say first. I noticed every time you said something that was he had a loud snore. So that was my key to say he's listening to the bull you're shoveling. Okay. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Dallas Cowboys. Not my favorite team in the world at all by any means. Cooper Rush is managing this team very effectively. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, this is going to be a close game. The reason why I say that is because Jalen Hurts is going to get bothered by Micah Parsons. How he handles that is another test. You know what I mean? So when you've got Slim Reaper, Mr. Smith, A.J. Brown, and who's their number 3? Quez Watkins, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Going up against that secondary of Dallas in that cover 3. Watch out for that safety number 8. That Wilson, I believe his name is, he's a hitter. He don't care about nothing else but hitting you. Dallas has a way of controlling the not the narrative, but the game with their defense. Zeke and Pollard are the truth. I don't think that CeeDee's going to get in the end zone, but I think CeeDee's going to have a PPR type game. Michael Gallup might get in the end zone. But Cooper Rush is not a big time, I'm going to throw for 300 yards a game. He might get 200. He might get 210, 250. But don't expect much from him. The running game is what's key in the defense in this game. Those are the areas I'm going to say play. Dalton Schultz, where's he been? And don't even worry about it. So it is what it is. That's what I got.
So what'd you say about CeeDee Lamb?
I already said CeeDee Lamb is going to be a PPR type guy. I don't think he's getting in the end zone, but I think he's going to get PPR numbers.
Okay. All right. The last game for this week with my snoring doggy.
He knows you're talking now. You know how obedient he was when I was talking.
Yeah, the last game on the docket here is the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is still ironic because I get the home team and Mr. FSP gets Russell Wilson and company for the Denver Broncos. So let's talk about let's talk about Justin Herbert. You're damn right you play Justin Herbert. You're damn right you play Austin Eckler. Without a doubt. Now, is Patrick Surtain the second going to be on Mike Williams? Is that going to be the formula for the Denver Broncos? If that's the case, Mike Williams is going to be somewhat irrelevant.
As always.
But if you have Mike Williams, you got to play him. Because the fact is he can have a 0 or he can have 30 points. That's how volatile Mike Williams is. And you don't want him sitting on the bench, even though it's a bad matchup, and go off. And go off. So you got to play Mike Williams and Gerald Everett, because I said this many times before. And Even with Antonio Gates, going back to Antonio Gates at that time, the Los Angeles Chargers mantra, for the most part, is throwing to the tight end. They love their offense, love it, showcasing or throwing to the tight end. And it showed up this year just like it showed up in past years, even going back, like I said, to Antonio Gates and Philip Rivers. They love throwing to the tight end. That's why I'm telling you to play Gerald Everett. Don't play Josh Palmer because he's too inconsistent. A lot more inconsistent than Mike Williams. You know,
Okay.
you know Mike Williams is going to get targeted quite a bit because Keenan Allen's not playing. You don't know how much targets Josh Palmer is going to get. That's why I'm saying that. Mr. FSP, you have one of your favorite quarterbacks, Mr. Russell Wilson, and the Denver Broncos. The floor is all yours.
You know what, Jerry? It's okay. It's okay because your favorite show, The Fantasy Doctors, is on and you can't watch it right now. So, Russell Wilson. Look, man, I said it earlier in the show. I benched him in favor of Kirk Cousins until further notice. With that medical situation with the lat tear, it made it very simple and easy for me to decide to do that, mainly because his performance was not up to par. And the injury is not an easy one. Now, granted, he had an extra couple days after the Thursday night game to heal a little bit more, but I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm not dropping Russ. I'm not dropping Russ. I'm trying to trade Russ, but I'm not dropping Russ.
Well, and nobody's taking that. Come on, man.
Well, right now they're not. Right now they're not. I will admit, right now people are scared. They're petrified. But with that being said, that also hurts the value of Cortland Sutton. Also hurts the value of Jerry Jeudy. Jerry doesn't like this kid. I do. I like Boone at running back because I'm not a big fan of Melvin Gordon. Jerry is going to be hypocritical because he's like, they're 30 years old and they're over this. They're not, but yet he's on the Gordon bandwagon as opposed to Boone. I'm on the Boone bandwagon because he seemingly is the better pass receiving running back. He's also younger. He's built not like Gordon, but he runs hard just as Gordon. I think it's probably going to be a 50-50 split between the two. Latavius Murray might come up. I'm not sure if they called him up or not. I don't want to give you that bad information. But the value of Russ diminishes the value of all those other players I just mentioned, except for Gordon and Boone. I say the sneaky play is Boone. Jerry doesn't agree with me, but of course, he doesn't have to agree with me to be wrong because he is. I would tell you this. You don't have to play him, but I would keep an eye on him. Or I would grab him if I were you. I would grab him and stash him if he's available.
Let me interject this. I don't mind being wrong, but I'd rather be on the right side of being wrong than the wrong side of being wrong. Let me put it that way. And if I know being you young, you don't understand, but that's okay. That's all right.
How you attacked me out?
That's
I
all right.
didn't do nothing, but he attacked me.
Oh no, you didn't do nothing. Okay.
You attacked me.
I wish I could replay what you just said, but that's okay.
I did.
That's all right. What I'm going to say is this. Now I've said it multiple times over this broadcast. I've said it multiple times over this broadcast.
I'm waiting on this.
Oh, you're waiting on it because the fact is this. I tell people to pay attention to look at all games. Look at as many games as you can possibly look at. And I've looked at a lot of games, and I've looked at one particular player that I think is going to be very valuable to the Denver Broncos, barring injury. And that's Latavius Murray.
I don't disagree with that.
I think Latavius Murray is really in a good position to take over this running back role. I really believe that for the simple fact that Melvin Gordon is uh, uh is the type of back that is not. He's a running back, but he's touchdown dependent. touchdown
Uh,
touchdown dependent, and he's not, in my opinion, as dynamic or close to being dynamic as and Latavius Murray. I watched Latavius Murray run when he was with the New Orleans Saints recently in the last few games. He looked like a stronger, better back running the football, and I was surprised they released him. And then I was really surprised. Wait a minute, let me finish.
okay, go ahead. I'll tell you why, but go ahead.
Denver picked him up because I can see. Now they're supposed to run 3 running backs this week. They're going to have Latavius Murray on the active roster, and they're going to be running the football. And Latavius Murray is going to be in the mix. I'm going to be interested to see how well Latavius Murray responds to his opportunity, because I believe, and your boy Ricky believes, because he would.
Oh, now I know it's off. If Ricky believes the same thing you believe, I know it's off.
That Latavius Murray has a strong possibility of taking over this backfield or being the number 1 runner, and Melvin Gordon be the number 2, especially if he can't hold on to the football. Especially Melvin Gordon can't hold on to the football.
Well, okay, so Jerry, I agree with that he does have an opportunity, and I think he literally can steal the job, but that doesn't mean Boone is not worthy of it, because Boone is productive. Now, if you're going to say, okay, don't mess with Boone because Latavius Murray is going to have the bulk of the touches, that's one thing. But
I didn't say that.
I know. That's what I said. Mm-hmm. If you were to say that, that's one thing.
Right.
But the fact that you're shaking your head now, boom, boom, I'm telling you, Boone is the younger, more athletic player. Now, Latavius Murray, he's a freak. He's a freak, meaning his body type and his running style would say, nah, you should be done. But he's not. And the beauty of that is he can play inside, outside, and catch the ball, right? But
better than Boone. Better than Boone.
Well, we don't know that.
Yes, we do. Know that. Boone's not a pass catcher. He's not a pass catcher.
Okay, well, he had 70 yards receiving last time they played. Last time Denver played. He also had 60 yards rushing. And he was splitting time with Gordon. So whether he's not a pass catcher or not, he caught 70 yards worth of passes. That's points. So again, I understand what you're saying, and the reason why I believe they let him go in New Orleans is because they knew Alvin Kamara was going to play, and it wasn't going to be enough room in that backfield for all those guys. So that's where I'm going at.
Olave is a game time decision.
Okay, that don't mean nothing to me.
Chris Olave is, well, I just saw it. Chris Olave is a game time decision.
So now it's Taysom Hill time? Yes, it is. Or is it Tyler Boyd time? Yes, it is. I don't know, but I would say.
All right, people. All right, people. I want to thank the people for listening that have listened. We didn't get any comments, but that's okay. I appreciate you. You know, even if you catch me on the archive, it's Jerry Taylor presents the Master Plan, and I'll be back next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about Week 7 and the Week 7 buys. The buys are in, people. You got to make those moves. Either trade, waiver wires, or if you got people on the bench that make up for the people that are on waiver. I mean, people on bye weeks. It is what it is. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'll be here. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday afternoon, Mr. FSP, the FSP show. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening or will listen. See you next week. See ya.
Copyright music.